You are surrounded by voices. They influence who you are and encourage you to chase your dreams. But some voices hold you back. They say you can't do it. You're too loud or too quiet, too slow, too hyper, too distracted. You're just not the right fit. But there's more than just those voices. There's a voice that was created inside of you, speaking to you, reminding you who you are. And this voice inside says you are strong enough, brave enough, smart enough, and more than capable. You are more than just a student. You are an original, a pioneer, a visionary, a history maker. You are a leader.
Hey everybody, my name's Dave. Hi. Hey, question to start out our time together. Do you believe that? Because that video is so dramatic, it's so exciting, but its main point is to say that you are a leader. And my question to begin our time today is how many of us actually believe it? Because I know there have been times in my life where I would have saw that video and said, not me. Now, let's be real. I make mistakes. I'm not someone you would expect to be a leader. I'm not, outspoken. I'm not this or that. I'm not all these qualities I think a leader might need to have. Maybe I'm not a leader. And today I want to affirm what that video said, that you are a leader. But I wonder kind of together why sometimes it can be hard to accept. And I do think it's because we know, we look at other leaders and see how impressive they are. We see, these people that we look up to and say they're amazing. And then we see our own mistakes or where we fall short. And we sometimes doubt ourselves. And so as I was coming up, with this message, it was kind of a collab with me and someone else who works on the transit team. And we were talking about examples of leaders who began as underdogs and who ended as leaders. Okay, they started out kind of someone you might not think was going to be a leader. And I just got to tell you, we went wildly different directions with these examples, okay? So my friend gave me 3 examples. I want to walk through them with you, and I want to get your opinion on whether or not you thought this person was A, an underdog to begin with, and a leader by the end of the story. Let's put up the first one, John. Right here. Anybody? That's A Bug's Life. That's right. That's right. So apparently, I don't know. I haven't seen A Bug's Life. Like I said, I collabed on these examples. She says it's good. You know what? I'm going to watch it, okay? I'm going to watch it. What'd you say? That looks like you? Hey, let's put up the next one, all right? Let's see the next example. Here we go. Here we go. Hiccup. That's right. This is another movie I haven't seen. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm going to tell you right out of the gate. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine, guys. Don't worry about it, all right? Don't worry about it. It's not that good. It's so good. Raise your hand if you like this movie, How to Train Your Dragon. Raise your hand if you think I should not waste my time. All right. The third example, this one I agree with right here. Let's put up this third one. Yes. Neville Longbottom, which is a hilarious last name. You don't like it. Well, so those were the examples my friend came up with. But I knew of an example. I heard about a story about a young man in a small town not far from here. He was working at a local chicken restaurant. Put up this underdog leader right here, John. That's right, yeah. This is my guy. For those who don't know, everybody who does know, let them hear who this is on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. This is Stetson Bennett, okay, quarterback of the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, a lot of people know. For those that don't, Stetson Bennett just won his 2nd national championship here for the University of Georgia. That's right. That's right. Go Dogs. I guess, I'm not from here. I guess you guys bark now or something. I don't know what you do. There we go. There we go. I'm from Tallahassee. We have a different team down there, but that's okay. But, it's easy to look at Stetson Bennett, holding up the trophy and won the national championship and say, what a leader. But a lot of people do know, it's been well documented, but some may not, that Stetson Bennett went to the University of Georgia out of high school. Did not, as a walk-on, no scholarship. They just said you could come and be on the team. He did not play. He transferred. Does anybody know the name of the college that Stetson had transferred to? USC. He went there, but then he also went to a place called Jones County Community College. Okay, you probably don't know about them because he wasn't playing well. He wasn't getting any playing time at any of the universities he went to, so he had to go all the way back to this place. Jones County Community College, I looked it up this morning. Their stadium is smaller than Alpharetta High School. Like the visitor side stadium, okay? Like no one goes to Jones County football games. And I bet if you would have looked at Stetson Bennett's career at that point, went to UGA, left there, went to the community college, no one's watching this guy play. No one knows who he is. He's not a name anybody knows. He couldn't even probably work at Raising Cane's. You wouldn't have said he was a leader. But ultimately, he became a leader. And I think that's what I want you to think about is how can you become a leader in your own life? And not like Stetson, most of us probably won't win national championships in college football. But we all can become leaders in our lives. We all can take steps to grow as leaders. And I don't want you to rule yourself out just because you make mistakes. And I think that's the statement that I want to spend some time on is I think a lot of us think I can't be a leader because I make mistakes. That because I do things that are wrong, because I mess up, that rules me out from being a leader. And that's not true. And one of the reasons I know that's not true is one of the biggest leaders from the Bible, one of the leaders that Jesus spent most of his time with, someone who Jesus said he believed was a leader, well, he made a lot of mistakes. Okay, this guy I'm about to tell you about made a lot of mistakes. And his name was Peter, okay? So Peter was one of Jesus' followers. And he was a disciple, is what they called him. He would follow Jesus around. He saw everything that Jesus did. He watched all the miracles. Peter had some really high moments. Peter was the disciple who walked on water. How cool would that be? How amazing would that be to be the one to say, hey, I saw Jesus walking on water. I said, if it's really you, Jesus, have me come walk to you. Jesus said, do it. And Peter walked on the water. How awesome would that be? Peter had some really high moments, but Peter also had some really low moments. In fact, there are 3 really big ones, big mistakes that people look at that say that Peter had. And the first one was Jesus was telling his disciples what was about to happen. Jesus was about to be killed, and he told his disciples that. And Peter, being a strong guy, being an outspoken guy, speaks up and he says, no, Jesus, that's never going to happen. Basically what he did was he called Jesus a liar. He said, what you said, I'm not going to let it happen. Jesus' response to him, he says, get behind me, and then he calls him Satan. Okay, so that's not good. That's not a good sign, okay? Now, don't call your friend Satan, and I think Jesus was using like hyperbole or exaggerating here, but I think what he was trying to make the point is, don't call me a liar. So that was a big failure. Later on, when Jesus was arrested, the night before Jesus was arrested and before he went to trial, he told his disciples to sit and pray. That was it. He said, hey, I'm about to go through something really intense. I'm going to go pray. Wait here and pray. Peter falls asleep 3 times, okay? Jesus comes back 3 times and says, are you really sleeping again? Now, anybody ever fall asleep when you're not like in class? That feeling where you're just like, you wake up? I have a feeling that's what he was doing. Sometimes I have been known. The other day, I thought I was about to fall asleep at a stoplight because I didn't get a great night's rest. So I understand this one. I get you, Peter. So if Peter can be a leader, maybe I can too. And then finally, right before Jesus goes to be crucified, he says to Peter, you're going to deny me 3 times tonight. Because Jesus knew the future. And Peter said, no, I won't. And then fast forward, Peter ends up denying Jesus 3 times. And so there's this guy who we look through the scripture, we look through the accounts of his life, and we see a lot of really public, really big mistakes. Peter had done all these things. And so you would think Jesus, if Jesus thought about Peter the way we tend to think about ourselves, you would think Jesus would have said, you know what, man? You're not the leader I thought you were. I'd hope that you would be a good leader, but the way this all played out, you made mistakes, and now I can't let you be a leader. But let's look at what Jesus actually said about Peter. He said, and I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church. Jesus looks at Peter after some of these mistakes, knowing full well the mistakes that were going to come, and he says, on this rock I will build my church. You see, we have church leaders around here. Our pastor is a guy named Andy. He's a big leader here. Peter was the very first leader of the church. And so through all these mistakes, Jesus looks at Peter and he says, you know what? You're my guy. You are going to be my leader of the church. And we're all a part of the church today because Peter was the leader that God had started, one of the reasons. And so if Jesus can look at Peter and say, hey, I believe in you. You're a leader. I want to build my church around you. I bet he looks at us as well and sees our mistakes. It still says the same thing. Hey, I see you as a leader. And I see you, me, not Jesus City, well, I'm speaking for me, I see you as a leader. Because I know that if you have breath in your lungs, which you all do, everybody take a deep breath. The fact that you are breathing, the fact that there is breath moving in and out of your lungs right now, the fact that you are alive, that you are on this earth, tells me that God put you here for a purpose. That you have things that you can do. You can still make an impact in other people's lives. No matter what mistakes you feel like you made, no matter how you see yourself, God sees you, we see you, your small group leaders see you as a leader. And it's interesting here to look at how Peter's personality, Peter was a loud, outspoken, really aggressive type of guy, and he made loud, outspoken, really aggressive mistakes, but he was still a very good leader. You might not be like Peter. You might be a little more on the quiet side, a little more on the introverted side. And so maybe the mistakes that you make are not like Peter's. Maybe you're not out loud, disagreeing with people, arguing with people. But maybe sometimes you shrink back when you wish you would have stepped up. Maybe sometimes you don't speak up when you wish you had. And maybe, just maybe, you becoming a leader looks like learning ways to speak up in a way that's comfortable for you. Circling back with a friend afterwards and tell them that you care about them. We all have strengths and weaknesses. But as we learn and as we grow, we can become better leaders. In fact, it's true. This is a good news right here, is that God uses our mistakes to make us better leaders. God uses our mistakes to make us better leaders because we learn, because we grow, because we now know more and more about who we are and who we are made to be. So there's two things I want you to do when you make a mistake. And if you know a good leader, if there's someone that you look up to, respect, they will do these two things, I guarantee it. Number one, own up to it. Own it. Now that we've said, hey, even good leaders make mistakes, you don't have to be afraid of making mistakes. You don't have to act like it didn't happen. Really good leaders own up to it when they make mistakes. Have you ever had your parent or your coach or someone in authority over you apologize to you? How did that make you feel? It makes us feel better about them. Whenever my boss comes to me and says, hey, I'm sorry, that wasn't the right way, I should have handled that, I like them more. I'm like, I knew that you made a mistake, but when they own up to it, it makes me feel like they're a better leader because they know that they made a mistake and they're humble enough to come to me and own up to it. And the second one is learn from it. Learn from your mistakes. That's the benefit of making mistakes, is that as we go through life, we can learn. Kobe Bryant, speaking of leaders, he missed the most shots of any NBA player ever. He holds the record for the most missed shots in the NBA. One of the greatest basketball players of all time. Made some mistakes. But he said something I heard the other day that I think is really important. He said, we don't win or lose. We either win or we learn. What a mindset. He said, I don't lose, I learn. So when I do come up short, I learn from my mistakes and I grow and I'm better next time. And that's kind of the principle here, is that as God uses our mistakes to make us better leaders, as we own up to the things that we do wrong, as we grow from it, as we learn from it, we will become better leaders and we can influence people around us. And I think that's something worth doing. So I have a question for you guys as you go to small group. And this is what I just want you to think about. It's right there. It's what strength can also be a weakness? So what is there a strength that you have, or maybe someone that you know about has, that can also be a weakness if we're not careful? Let me pray for you, and then I'll send you to group. God, thank you so much for this day. I just hope that every student in here right now, no matter what they're thinking or what they came in with, knows that you love them, knows that you put them here for a purpose, that they're not on this planet by accident, but they are a child of yours, that you love them, that you have good plans for their lives, that they can be leaders. I pray for everyone around these students as they go to school this week, or teams or sports or whatever it is that they do, that they would lead, that they would make an impact on their friends, and that we would see more people here at Transit and more people learning about you through the leaders in this room. Thanks for Jesus. Thanks for loving us. It's in his name that we pray. Amen. I have a quick announcement. If you're signed up for Transit Weekend after small group, you can grab a t-shirt. All right, grab that before you go, and we'll see you next week.